Hello, Stony Point family. This is Mrs. August, and I teach kindergarten at Stony Point. And I'm here today to read a book for you to help celebrate Read Across America Week. I did not choose a Dr. Seuss book this year, but I chose one of my very favorite books that I loved when I was a little girl, that I read to my three children when they were young, and that I have been reading to my pre K and kindergarten classes for all the years that I've been a teacher, which is quite a few now. The story I have chosen to read to you is Corduroy, and I hope you enjoy the story. All right. Corduroy, written by Don Freeman. He was also the illustrator of this book. I've had this book so long, since before I was married, which has also been a pretty long time. Corduroy is a bear who once lived in the toy department of a big store. Day after day, he waited with all the other animals and dolls for somebody to come along and take him home. There we see Corduroy waiting on the shelf with all the other animals. He just wants somebody to take him home. The store was always filled with shoppers buying all sorts of things, but no one ever seemed to want a small bear in green overalls. There he is, just waiting. Then one morning, a little girl stopped and looked straight into Corduroy's bright eyes. "Oh, Mommy," she said, "look, there's the very bear I've always wanted." "Hmm, not today, dear," sighed her mother. "I've spent too much money already. Besides, he doesn't even look new. He's lost the button to one of his shoulder straps." Corduroy watched them sadly as they walked away. Lisa looks pretty sad too. "Oh, I didn't know I had lost a button," he said to himself. "Tonight I'll go and see if I can find it." Late that evening, when all the shoppers had gone and the doors were shut and locked, Corduroy climbed carefully down from his shelf and began searching everywhere on the floor for his lost button. Suddenly, he felt the floor moving under him. Quite by accident, he had stepped onto an escalator, and up, 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 up he went. Could could this be a mountain? He wondered. I think I've always wanted to climb a mountain. Silly bear, that's not a mountain, that's an escalator. But Corduroy hasn't been very many places. He stepped off the escalator as it reached the next floor, and there before his eyes was a most amazing sight. Tables and chairs and lamps and sofas and rows of beds. "This must be a palace," Corduroy gasped. "I guess I've always wanted to live in a palace." Not a palace, is it? But to Corduroy it looks like one. He wandered around admiring the furniture. "This must be a bed," he said. "I've always wanted to sleep in a bed." And up he crawled onto a large, thick mattress. All at once he saw something small and round. "Why, here's my button," he cried, and he tried to pick it up. But like all the other buttons on the mattress, it was tied down tightly. He yanked and pulled with both paws until pop! Off came the button, and off the mattress Corduroy toppled. Bang! Into a tall floor lamp. Over it fell with a crash. Poor Corduroy. Corduroy didn't know it, but there was someone else awake in the store. The night watchman was going his rounds on the floor above. When he heard the crash, he came dashing down the escalator. Now, who in the world did that? He exclaimed. Somebody must be hiding around here. He flashed his light under and over sofas and beds until he came to the biggest bed of all, and there he saw two fuzzy brown ears sticking up from under the cover. Corduroy tried to hide. Hello, he said. How did you get upstairs? The watchman tucked Corduroy under his arm and carried him down the escalator and set him on the shelf in the toy department with all the other animals and dolls. Corduroy's so tired from his adventures, he falls asleep. Corduroy was just waking up when the first customers came into the store in the morning. And there, looking at him with a wide, warm smile, was the same little girl he had seen only the day before. I'm Lisa, she said, and you are going to be my very own bear. Last night I counted what I've saved in my piggy bank, and my mother said I could bring you home. She saved enough money. Shall I put him in a box for you? The saleslady asked. Oh, no, thank you, Lisa answered. She wanted to carry that bear home, and she carried Corduroy home in her arms. She ran all the way up 4 flights of stairs into her family's apartment and straight to her own room. Corduroy blinked. There was a chair and a chest of drawers, and alongside a girl-sized bed stood a little bed, just the right size for him. The room was small, nothing like that enormous palace in the department store. Ah, this must be home, he said. I know I've always wanted a home. Lisa sat down with Corduroy on her lap and began to sew a button on his overalls. I like you just the way you are, she said, but I think you'll be more comfortable with your shoulder strap fastened. She's giving him a new button. You must be a friend, said Corduroy. I've always wanted a friend. Me too, said Lisa, and she gave him a big hug. I just love that ending. They each found a friend and they both look so happy. I hope you enjoyed that story. As I said, it's one of my favorites, Corduroy by Don Freeman. I hope you can check it out from the library or maybe a bookstore. There's also another story about Corduroy. It's called A Pocket for Corduroy, and that one's a fun one too. I hope you can find one of these somewhere. Happy reading, friends. Thank you.